One of the things I've seen that is common amongst all guys that are terrible at getting women and keeping women, that is when their internal mind starts attacking themselves and it starts eroding their self-esteem, their self-worth, their respect, their confidence, and most importantly, their masculinity. And I bet you are doing this constantly in your head. That is being hard on yourself. So are you hard on yourself? Do you start to criticize yourself? Do you put yourself down? Do you constantly think about all the mistakes that you made, all the places or all the things that you failed at, and you constantly replaying this? It's like this never ending loop. Now, imagine what that's doing to your energy. Imagine what that's doing to you, the way you show up. I have noticed that the guys who are super critical, super judgmental, super harsh on themselves, they can, achieve well in their business and their work. So it can help them climb the ladder. The thing is, again, this has got a ceiling too, because when you get really at the top, they want to know what you're like as a person. Now, you might be functional, you might be effective and do things well. And, you can be at arm's length. So, like technical people, like he might be super critical, but if he's good at his job, let's just keep him his job, but let's not get too close to him. And that's what happens is that people will, need you and use you, but not necessarily be close to you. And this is why it can feel really lonely, that people don't really want to spend and get close to you because you have this super critical brain. And that super critical brain might be elevating you in your business or your work, but it's keeping intimacy and it's keeping people away. Now, I remember this from when I've come across, say, family members who are super judgmental and critical. I remember when I was young and there was these aunts and uncles, and these aunts were really critical and they were gossiping and talking ill of other people. And they just put me on guard. I was thinking, I better not make a mistake, because if I say something wrong or do something wrong, they're going to backbite about me. They're going to criticize me behind my back. They're going to gossip about me. And I don't want that to happen. So imagine what this critical brain is, this judgmental brain is costing you when you're hard on yourself. When you go on a date, this is what it does. It pre-rejects you before before even she's had this chance to connect with you, even actually select you. So what you're doing is, a lot of these guys, and I see this in my practice over and over and again, and this is something that we have to work on. And I call this the ego fracture. They go on a date and they've already pre-rejected. Oh, and I think, women like me. I'm not the kind of guy that women are into. Oh, she's probably going to find something wrong with me, a flaw in me. So what you're doing is you're constantly people pleasing. You're constantly hyper vigilant about the way you're showing up. You're constantly self-conscious, so you don't make mistakes. And you're trying to constantly maneuver around that you always shown up in a good light. So you're not judged, you're not criticized, you're not ridiculed. So you're constantly protecting yourself. Now, this is the ego fracture. It's one of the 5 fractures that I work on with the guys. So check out 5fractures.com, and then you can find out how severe your ego fracture is, and you can find out how severe your other fracture is. Because if you don't get this handle and you're constantly critical and hard on yourself, you're not going to move forward. Now, on the other side, you have, when you flip this script, and I had to work on the script too, because this script by default is in us because of survival reasons. So 100,000 years ago, being negative, being cautious, being hyper vigilant helped us survive. But we're not in that environment anymore. We're in a modern world, but our brain hasn't quite caught up to that. So we don't need to be so hyper vigilant, untrusting other people, cynical of other people, condemning other people, criticizing other people. Now, when I first started my own journey, this is one of the things that my mentors picked up. And they were like, your language is very defeatist when it comes to intimacy, relationships, and people. It might be very useful at work, but in people's when it comes to people, you were super critical, super judgmental. Your brain just completely put other people down. And this is something I really had to work on. I had to work on what was a positive in myself, what is the good things about other people, starting to appreciate other people's qualities rather than just seeing their negative qualities. I mean, I would see other people's negative qualities, but then their negative qualities would just jump out, and that my brain would just focus on that and go into a constant loop. The funny thing is, the strange thing is, when I put a woman on a pedestal, so if she's really gorgeous, she's amazing, she's loved, she's on a pedestal, then my brain, right, my fractured ego, it's because it's fractured, it's split. It either puts her really on like amazing, she's on a pedestal, or it puts her on in the gutter. So there's like no in between. So if she's on the pedestal or anybody else, then I just completely ignore their red flags. And I bet you're doing the same thing as well. You're ignoring the red flags. You're becoming over available, over accommodating, over pleasing, and you just see the goodness of them. This is sometimes called like the halo effect. You only see the amazing aspects of them, their life, and you're ignoring all their substandard behavior. So they can mistreat you. I've had guys in my coaching practice where they've been in relationships. And again, these guys are sometimes military guys, really high up in the rank. It's like, you don't want to fuck with these guys, mess with these guys. These guys have, done some powerful things in the military. But when it comes to women in relationships, they're like a pussycat. They're just completely wimps, and they get walked all over, and they get abused. They get pushed around, and they thinking, this is not me. How am I so powerful in one place and just weak in another place? This reminds me of a Jeff Bezos photo I saw. And you can see his wife now, and she's holding him. The way she's holding him is like she's holding a little boy. I'll try to put that photo up there, but you can see that. So guys can be really strong in the workforce, but really weak. There's more to this. It's called the mother-son enmeshment. I will make some more videos on that. But here, I really want to focus on that critical brain, that brain that puts, is hard on yourself. So when you start changing that around, and this is something that I did, it started to yield some incredible results. I used to go out in the world, and it lifted up my energy, it lifted up my aura, and it gave me this presence and charisma. And I had to do some work in, behind the scenes. And some of the work was, reframing the way I saw the world, reframing and integrating the way I am. So this is like dark work, dark integration as well, seeing your flaws, your dark side, and bringing them together. So that's really important. And then there's some more work that you need to do on this. And again, you would need a mentor or a coach or therapist. You would need to do this. And a lot of guys who are hard on themselves, what they do is isolate, and they're like, I don't want anybody else to know what I'm thinking is going on. So that level of shame. So guys have high level of shame and guilt. And when you have high level of shame and guilt, what you do is you protect yourself and say, I don't want anybody else to know what I'm thinking. I don't want anybody else. If they could go into my head, I'll be embarrassed. I'll be worse than embarrassed. So here, when you start working on this, flipping the script, say, rather than saying negative in people, just see them as integrated. Sometimes you'll see the flaws, and you've got to recognize their qualities as well. This can show up in other ways as well. There's something called the Madonna Hall complex. Again, there's more fracturing going on, there's split going on here. So again, as you dive more deeper into this, as you go through, say, in my coaching practices, I go through layers and layers and layers to unveil this. Is this an easy fix? It can be. So what I'm doing is like a challenge in my men's group is for the beginning of the year, we're going to be focusing on just eradicating that brain. So every time it complains, it criticizes, it condemns, we're going to catch that, and then we're going to put that as either neutral. So this is something that I will teach the guys, is how to go to neutral rather than always trying to go positive, because a lot of personal development world out there, there's a lot of Instagram posts and things like, yeah, be positive, be positive, be positive. And you try to be positive, and that might work once or twice or three times, then instantly your brain's gone back to negative. but there's a step that is missed out. And this is one of the steps I teach in my group coaching, in my one-to-one. I will make some videos on some of the steps if you can't access my coaching or my group coaching. So there are ways around this. So make sure that you like and subscribe and follow me on social media and on YouTube as well. And I'll be making more videos that will help and support you. For this one, stop being hard on yourself. Stop disrespecting yourself. Stop eroding your self-esteem, your confidence, and your self-worth, because no woman or anybody else wants to be around somebody who's super critical, super judgmental, and super harsh. Because if they're harsh on themselves, they're going to be harsh on other people. All right. Stay neutral or stay positive and mind your negative language.